You know how when you search for game recommendations, some of the same few games show up in every list and video? Well, Ruffy and the Riverside is gonna be one of those games. I've been playing Ruffy with an early pre-release code that was sent to me, and I gotta tell you, this game is delightful. Now, a lot of people will casually call it a platformer, but that's not quite right, and it might give you the wrong impression, so I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about Ruffy. I won't spoil anything, but you might see some early game puzzles. And hey, if you enjoy discovering cool new games, that's what my channel is all about. Feel free to like and subscribe if you're having a good time. You can think of Ruffy and the Riverside as the best parts of all of your favorite platformers over the decades, but it's more focused on discovery and unique puzzle solving than actual precision jumping. That's why I don't want to misrepresent this game as a pure platformer. You're not playing Ruffy to make pixel perfect jumps that only 2% of Mario Maker players can even do to begin with. You're playing this game because it's brilliantly designed to support its core mechanic. Ruffy's main hook is that you can copy and swap textures, colors, and materials between objects and the environment. So for example, you can turn stone into breakable wood, or water into ice, or a waterfall into climbable vines. You can even change the direction of objects, so you can open up gates, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. With these textures or objects or whatever you want to call it, with these swaps, you're changing the physical properties of the things you're targeting. So that means that when you change those objects, the way that they interact with the environment and the way that they behave becomes different. It's such a simple mechanic. You just point and click. It's so genius because it gives the developers endless creative possibilities, and that's just it. The creativity on display in Ruffy is incredibly engaging. The devs completely understand what makes the worlds of games like Mario Odyssey and Astro Bot tick, what makes them so fun, and you're basically seeing the same core concepts here. When you're playing Ruffy, you always have something engaging or mysterious in your line of sight, so whether that's a quick 10-second puzzle that gives you the game's equivalent of power moons for Mario, or maybe it's a whole new secret area, you're always doing something a little bit different and something that's engaging and fun. The game world is packed with layers of secrets and puzzles, but it never feels overbearing or overwhelming, and that's because Ruffy is designed to let you play it at your own pace, at least most of the time. Failure, it's not really punished all that much, and kind of the technical difficulty isn't super high, so you end up with a great sense of freedom and all of the positives and the joys that you'd want from that. But just to be clear, if you're coming to this game with the expectation of it being a hardcore punishing platformer, you're probably going to be disappointed. It's just not what the game is going for, and its mechanics like double jumping or gliding or even punching, they're all generally and generously straightforward. By the way, this game even has a full-on story with well-written dialogue and a colorful cast of characters, and I'm just sitting here like, damn. The devs didn't have to go so hard just for $20, but I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful that they did. The story premise basically boils down to a bad guy threatening the world, and you gotta traverse it in a collectathon fashion. You gotta seal away the ancient evil you accidentally unleashed in the first place. It's maybe not the most engaging sounding plot on paper, but the characters are well written, like I said, so it does make you wonder, hey, what's gonna happen next? What's happening with this world that looks so cool and unique and different? I wanna know. And I feel like the writing has a lot of winks and nods to platformer tropes if you're familiar with the genre, if you've played it a lot, but it never feels like they're trying too hard to break the fourth wall or anything like that. It's not like they're looking directly at the camera and, pulling a Deadpool or something like that. And it doesn't feel like they're doing the thing where it's like, hey, we made a joke, you need to laugh, you need to laugh. No, it all feels organic and clever. I like that there's a story hook, but if that's not your thing, you can very quickly skip through all of the dialogue, and I don't want to spoil anything major about the nature of what you're doing in Ruffy because discovery is such a fun part of the game, so I'll just tell you the types of things you can expect. You're going to run into all sorts of quests, many which involve you collecting something that you would find from solving a puzzle, so it's usually straightforward in terms of where you need to go next. You even have a compass at the top of the screen that tells you where your marker is for your objective, but the path to the objective is almost always littered with other puzzles and secrets and just plenty of things to see and do. Sometimes these secrets or puzzles are logic-based or memorization-based, sometimes they can be more execution-heavy, but like I said before, the game difficulty is pretty chill, so anytime you're doing something execution-heavy, it's not going to make you sweat, it's not going to make you feel like, oh, I'm barely at the edge of control or something like that. It's all pretty chill. You're also going to run into smaller activities like painting mushrooms a specific color to get coins, and while you don't have to engage with that type of stuff in the game if you don't feel like it, it's nice to have variety, and it's nice that there's plenty of reasons to explore the world. And speaking of the world, the design of it is excellent. So, it follows the classic Mario, and I guess now Astro Bot, mantra of coins act as guides. They kind of tell you, hey, this is where you could go, or hey, this is where you should go, or this is kind of something where you can experiment. But if you want to find the really cool secret stuff, you gotta pay attention to the environment. Some of this discovery and some of these secrets, they're gonna be kind of obvious, but others are gonna leave you scratching your head and butt, and you might even miss them on your first playthrough. I really appreciate that every part of Ruffy works in unison to delight you as the player, so the mechanics support the world design and vice versa, and I mean, look at the game, just look at it. It somehow blends hand-drawn cartoon sprite work with a neo-retro take on early 3D graphics, and it's just gorgeous to look at and experience. The music is also fantastic. It kind of evokes platformers of yesteryear, but also it has a modern take on certain soundtracks from, I would say, 80s and 90s games. It's really cool. Ruffy is such a compelling package from top to bottom, and again, let me remind you, this is not an $80 game, thank goodness. Now with that said, there are a few things in this game I don't love, but they're minor, and I can't imagine them being deal breakers for most people. Still, you should know about it. The game kind of takes a while to get started. It's front-loaded with a lot of dialogue, and then you do a semi-hands-on tutorial, and it reminded me how many Nintendo games take way too long to let you get going. Now, of course, Ruffy doesn't take as long, but it's definitely weird to load up this style of game and then sit through a whole bunch of dialogue as the very first thing you do. It's just so mechanically strong that I would have thought that maybe focusing on the mechanics as the first thing would have been maybe more engaging, but it's not a deal breaker like I said. Now, another thing I don't love is when you have to be super precise with a lot of little texture swaps in a short amount of time. So the swapping doesn't take long to do, but it is just on the edge of, I know what I need to do, I wish I could do it faster when we're talking about doing a lot of swaps at once. There is a multi-swap feature in the game as well, so that's super handy. And I will say, swapping hasn't been annoying in my time with the game so far, but I definitely feel like when you are making a lot of little swaps, that's something that could be improved, maybe with a patch even. And finally, there's just a little something odd with the camera at times. It's almost as if it doesn't pan as smoothly as it should, like it suffers from some jitter maybe. It's just one of those things that probably 95% of people are never going to notice, but if you're sensitive to jitter like me, it stands out a little bit at times. And realistically, it's probably not even showing up on this video due to all the YouTube compression and stuff, but when you spin the camera, sometimes you notice, hey, it's not quite as smooth as it should be. Like, is it pausing for like a millisecond or something? It's hard to say. I tried different configurations, different screens, and it kind of gave me the same result. So I don't know what's up with that, but none of these small issues are deal breakers. I'm just letting you know about them because they're there, so you should know about them, and they don't take away from the game being awesome. It's impressive how well designed and packed with content Ruffy and the Riverside is, and unless this game is somehow turning into total garbage right towards the end, I'm convinced that this is a banger that you're gonna see 9s, 8s, and maybe even 10s from reviewers. I'm excited to keep playing Ruffy. This game makes me feel so joyful, and it's got just the right amount of thought-provoking puzzles without being an annoying drag or slog. But what do you think about the game? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed discovering cool new games. I'll see you next time.